Hello, welcome back to another Tabletop Talk. So this is kind of going to be a cross between a tabletop talk and a actual replay. So I thought I would take a few minutes to talk about how I do race week in a replay. So I'm currently doing the 1984 NASCAR schedule, as you can see, and I have I think I have one race from this up on the channel. So I thought I would take a minute to do like a detailed of what I've discovered so far about race week and the optional rules that I'm using and the ones that I'm not using, just to give a little bit more detail and take some time to do that. I know I appreciate videos like that. And so if you're new, or even if you've been doing this a while, sometimes seeing what other people is doing kind of helps me, give me ideas and suggestions, and it's just kind of fun, especially when you're really into a game, to see other videos, other people playing it. So again, I thought I would just take some time to do a detailed walkthrough about how I set up race week. So as you can see, again, I'm doing the 1984 NASCAR schedule. This set was supplied by Play Games. Very good set, having a blast, great game. I'm sure I'll do a review of the game at one point once I get a little bit more experience under my belt. And again, understand that I'm a couple things. I'm new to NASCAR, not been a fan, so I'm learning, and also new to this game. I've got in quite a bit of time with it, but this is coming as somebody who's still relatively new to NASCAR and the game. So take that into account about the things that I'm saying. And then, as always, these are just my opinions and what I like and what I don't like. Not to say what you like and you don't like is any better or worse than what I like or don't like. Just sharing, So, which is the point of the channel. So we are a third through the schedule here. We have just finished the Coors 420, which is race number 10. Going into race number 11, which is the Budweiser 500 at Dover Downs International Speedway in Dover. That's going to be a 50-turn race, which I prefer the longer ones. It gives you a little bit more time to get some drama, but the short ones are fun too. I'm setting up for race number 11. And again, going to talk a little bit more in detail about what we're doing here. So the first thing, I didn't do any notes or anything, so this is kind of off the cuff, so hopefully I won't ramble too much. If I do, I apologize. The first thing you have to choose when you're doing race week is your TV drivers. And so they are in a special class by themselves. TV drivers can be a good or bad thing. When you're doing race week, once you're in the race itself, it usually is a good thing because it will give you another opportunity to advance. So you can see here at Dover Downs on result number 4 is TV. So only those with the TV designation will be eligible for the opportunity to move up. So once you're in the race, typically it's a good thing, but I've come to learn that during race week it could be good or bad. So a home brewed rule is that whoever won the last race is automatically a TV driver. So Darrell Waltrip has won the last 2 races in a row. He is currently in my point system, which is not NASCAR. And those of you who are NASCAR purists probably hate this, because I know as a baseball purist, again, baseball is my sport that I love, so I tend to want to hold a pretty tight line to what baseball has done historically. And so those of you who are NASCAR purists probably cringe when somebody uses a point system different than the one that they used, because, that's not the way it was. But it seemed complicated enough to me that at least at this replay, I didn't want to deal with that, so I made up my own, which is pretty simple. Basically, you get 20 points for winning, 10 points if you're in the top group, 5 points if you're in the middle group, 2 points if you're in the bottom group and finish, 1 point if you qualified for the race but did not finish. And then if you were ever in first place or won the pole position in qualifying week, you get a 2-point bonus. So let's say you finished in second, but you were in first at 1 point, you'd get 12 points. Let's say you didn't finish the race, but you were in the race, that's 1 point, but at 1 point you was in first, that would be 3 points. I don't give a bonus to whoever was in first. So if you won the race, 20 points is the max. So again, if you're in second or in the top group and finished or were in first at any time in the race, then 12 would be the most you could get for not winning the race. So that's kind of my point system. I'm enjoying it right now. Dale Earnhardt is in first with 116. Darrell Waltrip is in second with 102, and a distant third is Harry Gant with a 76. So, again, we're just a third of the way through, so a lot of things can change, but that's basically what I'm doing. I imagine if I continue to, play this and enjoy it and get into, historical NASCAR, I will probably want to do a point system that's more accurate, true to life, and, but at this point, that's what I'm doing. Those of you who are NASCAR purists, please forgive me. So, when you do, the first step in the race week, again, is to pick your TV drivers. Darrell Waltrip won the last race, so he's won. Some people will use other things. You could use, like if you have an ongoing feud, you could make those TV drivers, which I don't do. The points leader, you can use them as a TV driver, which I don't do. So the only person who gets an automatic TV driver rating is whoever won the last race. And the reason I do that is because that's going to be quite a bit more random than the points. Like, for example, Dale Earnhardt won the first 2 races, so he has been the points leader from the get-go. And so he would have gotten a TV driver rating every race at this point. Matter of fact, interestingly enough, out of the 10 races, the last race, the Coors 420 is the only race he hasn't been in first place at some point. So he's had a great season. So I felt like, giving him that would just, again, you could be there a long time. That's just too much of an advantage. So for me, I go with just whoever won the last race, and I put them at the last of the TV group so they don't get the gold rating. So what that is that when you pick your TV racers, drivers, whoever is the very first one gets an automatic gold trophy. And so the trophies come in gold, silver, and bronze, or no trophy at all. And obviously, the gold is more likely to place higher or place at all. The silver is next, and then the bronze. And then obviously those who are non-trophy are much less likely to place high or even make the race at all. So what you do is that you start out by rolling to see, how many you have. You use your 2 metallic dice or any 2 dice you want, but they say the metallic. So we get a 7. So I'm going to pick 6 more from. I just shuffle the cards and I just go from the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now, one thing, and we'll deal with this as it comes up, you'll notice that next to the trophy, there's going to be a little number written down next to the trophy, and that is basically to see if they're going to race that day or not. And so none of these folks have that number, so these will all be in the race. And the reason they do that is like, for example, in 1984, Cale Yarborough, he didn't race in every race. I think he maybe a half, a third, something like that. He ended up winning 2 anyway. So when he did race, he did very well. So as a result, he's got, I think, a 3. So you have to roll 1 die and get a 3 or less for him to be in that race. And so I use that. I find that very good representation of the season. And so I go with that. But however, nobody here has that subscript number, so all these folks will be in the race. So Larry Terry Labonte, who was actually the points leader in real life, is 5th in my replay, and he's not had a great year. Matter of fact, the last 2 races he didn't even finish. So he's gold anyway, so he's going to get the gold irregardless, because he's gold anyway. And then so what you do, you've got your race week guide here, and then you've got your race week TV list chart. So you just roll the red, white, and the blue, because sometimes the placement would depend on the blue die. And so you got your red, white, and blue here. So I'll roll on the table here for the benefit of the video. All right, so that's a 56, and that's a hot week and hot laps, placement B, performance chip. So I do that right away, because if I don't, I will forget it. A gold driver gets placement A, and then so how you know what placement is just the next chart page over. It tells you what that is. So a gold driver with placement A will get the pole position. So Terry Labonte gets the pole position and a performance chip to boot. So he had a good week qualifying, and so he will get his he will get the pole position. The last race, the Coors 420, Darrell Waltrip was the first racer I had to get the pole position and win the race. And I'm pretty sure Labonte has got the pole position before. Just let me double check that real quick. Yeah, the Valleydale 500, he got the pole position. Gant ended up winning that race, and Labonte came in 4th. And the next race, he got the pole position. Jeff Bodine won that race, and he finished 17th. So he's had the pole position twice, so this will be his 3rd time getting it. All right, so again, you just do that for each driver. So obviously going forward, it's whatever trophy they have. So that's a 14 possible positive fan interaction. During race week, he had solid times, placement B. A gold driver gets the A, so he's a bronze. When I first got this, I had to figure out which was gold, but the lighter yellow is the gold, the darker yellow is the bronze. So a placement B for a bronze. He gets the blue die in the top group. So we rolled a 4. So Mike Alexander. Now, let me stop right here. It's put him where he goes first, so he gets the 4. So in this particular set, there are racers who have the X, and so these are alternate racers. So these teams, the same racer didn't race every time, and so as a result, 71 is one of those. So I have these numbers memorized. So Lenny Pond was the alternate driver. So how I figured this out is that I went to Wikipedia and found out how many races these guys race. So the 71 team, Mike Alexander ran 19 races. Lenny Pond ran 12. So what I've been using is a 30-sided die. And then so because the first 3 races I didn't do this, I was just giving it to them. I've been giving the alternate racer 1 extra number. So if I get a 1 to 13, Lenny Pond will run this race. Anything else, it'll be Mike Alexander. So that's a 10. So that's how I've been doing, and it's working out pretty well. So for this particular race, Mike Alexander Lenny Pond rather, will be the one racing. And so, and as you can see, I've done that for the teams that have that. So the 6 team, the 23, 52, 64, 71. So basically, I've been giving these guys an extra 1 just because the first 3 or 4 races I was just using the main drivers. So like if I roll a 1 to 4, it's Milliken. At 1 to 9, because I add 1 to that, 5 to 9 is Hensley. And then so that would be 4, 9 plus 6 is 15. Will be over that Schrader, and then anything over that's Gale. So that's how I figured that out. So hopefully that made some sense. So that's how I'm doing the X drivers, the alternate drivers. So Lenny Pond will be the one racing this race. Now, one other thing is a couple races ago, Phil Parsons was a TV driver, and he got suspended for 4 races, and he's a rookie this year. He got suspended 4 races for an illegal modification, so he's obviously not going to be in this race. I believe he is out. Yeah, he's got 2 to go. It was the start of the Winston 500, so he's out for the Budweiser 500 and the World 600, and then he can get back into it. And he also has he has that subscript as I was talking about, so you can see there that that's a 4. So you have to roll a 4 or less for him to actually be in the race once he's back from his suspension. So that was kind of interesting, a little storyline. That's one thing that Play Games does better than anybody, and that's the storylines. Most other sports simulations are stats, and you can use your imagination to figure things out, but they better than anybody add storylines, and that kind of their thing, and as a result, their games are a lot of fun to play. All right, so Lenny Pond, he had a good week. He didn't get a gold chip, so he will be in number 5. So the next one's Trevor Boys. He's from Canada, as I understand it. 33 is a Team X interview, so you just go to the Team X chart. See what Trevor Boys has going on. That's a 34. A rules violation, placement D. So placement D, if you're a trophy driver, you get to the top of the bubble stack. Non-trophy driver fails to qualify, so he'll go to the top of the bubble stack. So the bubble stack is basically once you go through the 3 or 4, I think it's 4 steps, there'll be some holes left, and so you just fill it starting where the top of the bubble stack, and then whatever's left don't make the race. So basically you just start using the bubble stack, and again, they fill in the holes once you've done the other 4 steps. So it's simple as that. All right, so he's on top of the bubble stack. So the next one is Jeff Bodine. He's a gold trophy driver, rather. That's a 51. Driver appears on ESPN Race Week segment, placement C. Trophy driver gets the blue in the middle group, so he will be number 1. So you'll notice in the middle group, you actually have 2 racers per die. So whichever one's open is that one, they get to go there first. So the next 1 die will go in the 9th spot. So there's only 1 per die spot here. So that's kind of how I do that. I think that's how you're supposed to do it. All right. Harry Gant. Again, Harry is, Harry Gant's number 3 in our points total, a distant 3rd. He has won one race this year. So let's see what Mr. Gant's got going on here. So that's a 55, and that's going to go to the X chart again. If I can stay on the table here. 1, 2, he goes to a charity event, placement C. And again, I think that is going to be in the middle group. Trophy driver against the blue die in the middle, so that's 5. So Harry Gant will go there. Derek Cope, who is a non-trophy driver, so that means he didn't place or race a lot. So that's a 23. Sponsor appearance in Race City, placement C. So now he's a non-driver, a placement C, non-trophy, goes to the top of the bubble stack. So he will be there next to Trevor Boys. And then Mr. Waltrip, again, he's won the last 2 races in a row, 2nd in points. He gets a 26. Unusual car trouble, placement D. And placement D, I believe, is the top of the bubble stack. Trophy driver placed in bubble stack. Non-trophy driver fails to qualify. So you can see there that Waltrip had some problems, and so I'm sure he'll probably be in the race, but he's not going to place very high this time. So that's the end of step 1. So I'm going to pause it real quick, because what you do is every driver has the white card, and then they have the yellow card, which is if they're a TV driver. So you replace all these with the TV drivers. It's a good thing to keep these in numerical or alphabetical order, however you know. So that way you're not having to go through every card to try to find it. You know where they're at. So I use numerical order, and that works out well for me. So let me pause it real quick and cut off the video time a little bit, and then we'll go to step 2. Okay, so that's part 1. So as you can see, like we said earlier, being a TV driver can be a good thing, or it could not be a good thing. So it could go either way. So that's step number 1. So step number 2 is that you determine who had a fast qualifying week. And again, you roll the dice to see how many of those you got. We've got 6. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Wow, so we got some lower rung players this week. So now you'll notice we've got 2 that have the number. So Ronnie Thomas has a 4, so we will roll to see if he stays in the race. He got a 3, so he's going to race this week. Doug Heveron, another rookie, he's got a 3, and he rolls a 3, so he's going to stay in the race. So all these guys are going to stay. And then so you've got a chart here in the race week guide, which says if what to do based on their trophy rating or where they go. So if they've got a none, no trophy, they go in the next position in the bottom group. So Mark Stahl will go there. This is bronze, silver, and gold. So bronze will go to the next group here. So Ronnie Thomas will be 9th. Jerry Bowman is non-trophied, so he will be 21st. Doug Heveron is a bronze, so he will be 10th. Tommy Gale is bronze. Now, he's one of those that have the alternative drivers. So I will look at my homemade chart here. So 64, again, so 1 to 4 will be Milliken. And he's up to 5, and he's up to 6. So again, it's cumulative, so we'll see what we got here. All right, so we get a 7, so that's going to be 4, so that's going to be Hensley. Will be the one racing this week for Team 64. See, I got to find out where I put those cards. So Hensley, Jimmy Hensley, will be racing for 64 this week, and they're bronze, so he had a fast qualifying week, so it'll be him, not Gale. And you'll notice that the teams have the same, all the racers in that team have the same trophy rating and the same crew pit, obviously, because it's the same team. So, but anyway, Hensley with a good qualifying week. And then lastly, Terry Schoonover is a non-trophy, so he had a good week. So he will be 22nd as he is non-trophied. And so that's what you do with that. So the third step is the slow drivers. So as the other times, you just roll to see how many of those you got. And we just 3. So just 3 slow drivers this time. And again, I just take from the top of the pack. 1, 2, 3. Now we got a couple here with numbers by their trophy. Buddy Baker is a 4, so he has to roll 4 less to be in this race. And he gets a 2, so he's going to race this weekend. Dean Combs is a 2, and he gets a 6. So Dean Combs will not be racing this weekend. So he goes there, and then when that happens, I just pick the next one in the group, and he doesn't have, so that's rookie Clark Dwyer. So they're slow. So if you're slow, basically if you're gold, and again, the chart is in the book. It's right here. If you're slow, have a slow week. If you're bronze or silver, you go to the top of the pack. If you're gold, you go to the top of the bottom. If you're non-trophied, no trophy rating, you did not qualify. So Bobby Gerhart, number 59 Chevy, did not qualify this week. And Clark Dwyer, who's bronze, will go to the top of the bubble stack. And so that's step number 3. Step number 4, just double check that I don't have any teams here that I missed with the alternate drivers, and I don't. So again, that 30-sided die works out really good for me because there's the reason it works out well is that in 1984 there was 30 races, so it makes it real easy for me to figure out the percentages. So that works out good for me, and I'm sure you could probably find a dice roller online, that had a 30-sided on it if you didn't have a physical 30-sided. But you know how I love physical dice. So the fourth step is you basically just take the racers that are left and place them based according to their trophy rating. So gold goes in the highest in the top, silver in the middle, bronze here. If you're non-trophied, you go in the bubble stack. So that's as easy as that. So starting off is Joe Ruttman. He's a silver, so he will go in number 12. We've got J.D. McDuffie. He's bronze, but he's got a 3, so we'll see if he's going to race this weekend. Again, anything 3 or lower. Yep. Roll the. That's the bad thing about not using my dice tower. All right, he gets a 6, so J.D. McDuffie will not be racing this week. Jody Ridley is a silver, but he's a 3, so we'll see if he's going to be racing or not. He gets a 1, so he is. Silver will be number 13. Bobby Hillen Jr., he's a 3 and a bronze, so we'll see if he's racing this week. He's a 3, so he will be. So bronze goes in the top of the bottom. So he'll be he'll be 23rd pole position. Bobby Allison is silver. He doesn't have a rating, so typically what I'm finding that to mean is that they if they don't have a number, subscript number next to their trophy, that they pretty much was in every race. So Bobby Allison will be 14. DK Ulrich is 6. Now that's there's alternate drivers there. So we got needs a 3 to be in the race today, and he's going to race. Now we have to look at the homemade. Now because they didn't race every week, you can see they only did about 15 races. So basically what I've been doing is doubling it -1. Again, just getting percentages. So that would be 7 up to 14 for Ingalls, and anything else would be Ulrich. So let's see what we got. Okay, 6. So that's going to be Souter. So number 16, again, he's bronze. So he will go at the next position in the bottom group. So Ulrich will not be racing today. It's going to be Jim Souter. So he will be in the 23rd position. So again, that's working for me as far as those with alternate drivers. All right, silver is Richard Petty. I've really been rooting for Richard this year. He's not had a great year. He's 7th in the points. Won no races, but he's just kind of not had a great year, so I'm rooting for him to do a little better. Jim Southard is not rated, so he goes to the bubble stack, and he may not make it. Morgan Shepherd is a 23, which has alternate drivers. So again, they pretty much did every race. So Goyle is up to 2, Sailor's the next 9, so 3, 13. So anything above 13. There we go. That's a 3, so that's going to be Coyle will be racing, so that's a low number. And they're bronze, so that will be the next position in the bottom group. So again, Gene Coyle will be doing the honors for the Team 23 this week, and he'll be in the 25th spot. So Morgan Shepherd will watch his partner race this weekend. All right, so Jimmy Means is another one. That's an alternative racer. So we're getting them all together here. And so, again, you kind of know how this works. So we'll roll here and see what we got. If I could stay on the table. That's a 13, 52. So that's a 4 plus. Yep, that's not enough. So Means will be doing the honors this week for Team 52. And he's bronze, so he will go in the bottom section. All right, Kyle Petty is bronze, so he'll be 27. Dale Earnhardt, again, points leader in my replay, will be number 17. Last race, again, was the first race he hadn't been in first place. The first 9 races, he was either won or was in first place at some point in the race. So having a good year. Greg Sachs, rookie, will be number 28. Tim Richmond, number 27 in the Pontiac, is silver, so he'll be 18th. But we need some gold drivers here to fill up the top. There's one. Ricky Rudd will be number 2. Cale Yarborough, again, he didn't race all the time, so he's got a 3. So 3 or low, and he'll race this weekend. He gets a 1, so he will be racing and be number in the 3rd position. Jeff Hooker, not rated, will go to the bubble stack. Rusty Wallace is silver. He'll go to the last middle group position. He won Rookie of the Year this year, and in my replay, he has the most points of any rookie. He's in the 18th spot with 42 points. All right, Neil Bonnet, who has not had a great year, but he will be in position number 4. Buddy Arrington is bronze, so he'll go to the next bottom position. Lake Speed, he is a 4 on his trophy, so we'll see if he's racing this weekend. He gets a 3, so he is. So there's no more positions in the middle group, so I will put him in the 30th. So I typically have more filled in the top group by now. We'll see how it goes. Herschel McGriff, I believe he was a veteran at this point, if I'm correct. So he's just got a 1, so he didn't race a lot. But, again, I can't get him to stay on the thing, and he gets a 1. So he's going to race this weekend, and he's a silver. So he'll go to 31. He hasn't raced much, but he'll be in this one. All right, Benny Parsons is a 3. He gets a 4, so he will not be racing this weekend. Ken Reagan is a 2. Well, Dad, burn it. How hard is it to stay on the table? Okay, he's a 1, so he'll be racing. Sterling Marlin is a 3. Gets a 5, so he won't be racing this weekend. Elliot Forbes Robinson is a non-trophy, so he will be in the bubble stack. Randy Baker is a non-trophied. He'll be in the next position in the bubble stack. Dick May, 35. He will be next in the bubble stack, so he's probably not going to make it. A.J. Foyt, who made the last couple races but didn't finish. That red triangle is killing him. All right, David Pearson is a 2. He gets a 3, so he will not be racing. He's won a race this year in my replay. Ron Bouchard is silver, so again, no more positions in the middle group, so I put him at the next in the bottom. Tommy Ellis is a 4. He gets a 4, so he'll be racing this weekend. He's bronze and goes to the next position. Bill Elliott is gold, so he'll get the 6th position. Dick Brooks is bronze. He'll go to 35. Dean Roper is non-trophied. And Dave Marcus is silver, so he'll go to the next. Now, this next section, this is the last thing you use, is you fill in the spots with the bubble stack. So I think that the bubble stack positioning is just based on first come, first serve. So whoever's at the first bubble stack gets the next position open. I don't believe that the trophy has anything to do with it, and so that's how I've been doing it. If anybody feels that's wrong, or you feel like that you're doing it incorrectly, or you have other things, you could let me know. So, like for example, Darrell Waltrip is in this group, but he is gold, and so you could say, well, whoever's got the highest position will fill him in that way. But I believe, again, that you do it just based on first come, first serve. I think that's how you do it. Now, another thing I'm doing, which is a little bit kind of like as played, is that I'm looking at the actual results for this particular race and seeing how many people was in the race. So if you go to Wikipedia it will basically, if you go to the Full Drivers Championship, so we're at Dover Downs. So let me see here real quick. So 35. I'm just seeing how many people was in the race. 34. So there wasn't anybody who did not qualify this week. And looks like 35 was as high at 36. Morgan Shepherd came in 36th. So it looks like there was 36 in this race. So how I do that is that I will do everybody with a trophy up to 43. But if we're over how many was in the race, nobody who's non-trophied gets in that race. So that's how I do it. So again, this particular race in real life, there was 36 people in this race. There was none that did not qualify, at least according to this chart I have. Now that could be inaccurate, but they did show some who did not qualify, like in other races. So I don't know, maybe because like Daytona 500 has some that did not qualify. It could be because that was a big enough race that they had the stats. So they could be that they just don't have the stats for that, and there was some who didn't race. But again, as far as getting in the race, I know that obviously, if this is accurate, that there was 36 race drivers who got in the race. So I cut it off anything over 36 if you're not a trophy. So that's kind of what I do. Now, again, so we have the top group. So again, I'm doing it first come, first serve. So Trevor Boyes he'll be number 7, so he gets a break there. So again, first come, first serve, and again up to 36. So we're already up to 38. So nobody who's not a trophy will get in this race. So Darrell Waltrip will be 38th. Not a great position for him. Buddy Baker will be 39. And Clark Dwyer will be 40, and that'll be it, because, again, only 36 was in this race. And so these guys are not trophied, so they will not make the race. So that's how I do it. Now, you could go ahead up to 43, if you wanted. I don't believe there's no right or wrong way to do this. It's just getting a little bit more of the, the historical as life. I am the replay gamer, so I do like as much as possible most of the time, to try to keep it kind of historical. But, you could do this, because you have the stats. You could actually, do as played and not even do the race week. But the race week is a lot of fun, and it kind of opens up your seasons a little bit and gives you things like, Phil Parsons being suspended for 4 races due to, illegal modifications, and, Cale Yarborough. You get the fact that he wasn't in every race, but the races he was in was different. And so that's kind of fun. So, again, he's in the 3rd pole position here. And so, I like doing the race week. And so this is basically how I do it. So I'm pretty sure I got all my alternate drivers. We did 6, we did 23, we did 52, 64, and then 71. Yeah. So I've kind of got those numbers memorized. So, again, that 30-sided die with the 30 races works really good for me. I'm finding that's giving me a pretty accurate results where the guys are getting in the races kind of pretty close, to what they did in real life. But still, based on the luck of the die, it'll change different races. I know team number 6, they wasn't in every race, so that's just working out really well. So this set is put together well, and giving me a real good representation of the 1984 NASCAR season. So once you get to this point, you're ready to do your race. You got your field set, and that's how I do it. I didn't keep notes on this because I didn't want to make the video any longer. But you can see that this is the last race, the course 420. So I like to, keep track of, again, this is the last race, where they started, obviously where they finished, whether they were a TV driver, whether they had a fast week, whether they had a slow week. If there's nothing, then they just, had an interesting week. I do the TV and then what their results were and how they, the pluses, like if they got a performance chip. And then when they get out of the race, I usually write why. There was a red triangle. They got a they got a problem based on rolling doubles, 2 times, and then why, what turn it was. The little red is like if they were ever in first place, so I know to give them 2 extra bonus points. You can see last race, Gant and Labonte both got out of the race early, even though they had been in first place. And then notes of different turns, who won the race, some real life things. I put my points leaders, So that's basically what I do. If I have a yellow or a caution lap, I do it in red, break the race up into thirds. So, who really won the race, then my winner. So anyway, I've going back to my baseball days, I like to keep pretty good records. Not so much where it's minutia, but these are things that I like to go back and, that's kind of how I'm doing it. This is obviously the score sheet that is free on the site, and it comes with the game. These are racers who, on their trophy, where they have the number that they didn't race this week. So you can see last week Pearson didn't race, etc. Benny Parsons, 55, didn't race. I don't think he's in this one either. He hasn't raced in a while. So that's how I set up race week. So I hope that was helpful and entertaining. Again, I always enjoy these kind of videos just to see how other people do it and things that they're doing. So I might do a video of do a little more of a detailed how I do the race itself. Or I may just, do a race like I have and then let you observe. That might be interesting as well. I haven't decided yet. But anyway, really enjoying this game. One of the best games that I have had in a while. I will try to do a video review of it. Once again, I get a few more races rather, under my belt. But that's how I do race week. So any questions, feel free to chime in. Any other suggestions? I really love the comments when you guys talk about what you do and how you work things out. There's a few things in the rule book that's a little open-ended. You obviously have home-brewed rules and things that you can do, even the optional advanced rules. There's some that I do and some that I don't for different reasons. But always enjoy hearing what other people's doing. So anyway, I appreciate it very much, and I'll see you next time.